Welcome back. National Park Week begins April 22nd, and if you can't make it out to one of the parks, why not read about it? One author from Bainbridge Island shares her journey through national parks of the American West in her latest book.
Yeah, and today we're joined by Steph Jagger, the author of Everything Left to Remember, My Mother, Our Memories, and a Journey Through the Rocky Mountains. Steph, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
It's wonderful to be here.
Can't wait to learn more about this book here. You live on Bainbridge Island. You're also a world record-breaking skier. So talk to us about how being out in nature has helped shape your writing style and all of that.
Yeah, you did your research. The skiing is part of it. Not part of this book, but part of my first book, actually.
Yeah.
I think, you know, when I think about nature and the way that it's played a role in my life, I think the biggest thing that I can say is that I learned about flow states when I was in nature as an athlete.
Tell us about that.
I think just, you know, I think any athlete, especially runners, skiers, endurance athletes, like they spend enough time in an endurance level that they find flow states. Now that's helped me with creativity. That's kind of what you do as a writer. And I also think, you know, especially with the topic that's inside of this book, it's helped me with the landscape of grief. Like I can sit in prolonged states of discomfort and relative comfort because of those flow states.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And flow state is just when you're fully present, fully in the moment, right?
Yeah, I feel like as an athlete, it probably would be defined as your skill level perfectly matches the challenge of the terrain. Like the terrain is not too scary that you're freaked out, and it's not too easy that you're bored.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is actually your second book, and it's a mother-daughter memoir. Tell us kind of the story behind it.
Yeah, so my mom was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's in 2015. She was 67 or 68 years old. And about a year after that, I had an idea to take her on a road trip and go camping through national parks, tenting, hiking. My mom called it tenting.
Yeah, tenting's so cute.
Hey, that's
and horseback riding and whitewater rafting. And so we did that trip. I didn't think that I would actually end up writing about it, but on the plane home, I was like madly taking notes in my app on my phone and thought, oh, I think there's a book out of this.
And you got some wonderful pictures, which we just showed there as well. And that's got to be great to look back on.
Yeah,
as well
it is. It is. There were many, many memories created. And I think, a lot of people, especially when it comes to Alzheimer's and dementia, have questions about, why would you do a trip like that if you can make the memories, but your mom can't? And I think, for me, it goes back to that idea of flow states in nature. Like if we can put ourselves in awe and in wonder and in those kind of places, even if our mind doesn't remember them, our body does, and we still have the experience. So
still such a positive experience. Yeah.
So your book touches on some emotional topics, obviously, here with this, with loss and legacy and all kinds of legacy, really. Tell us about some of the experiences that were shared through your writing.
Yeah, I think, again, I go back to that idea of, I come from a lineage of many people who have had Alzheimer's and dementia. And so for me, there's not really necessarily a legacy of trying to, even though I'm a writer and I document things, of trying to like collect and remember and document everything. It really seems to me to be presenting more of a legacy of how do I remain and stay present, in the present moment. Alzheimer's and dementia is a disease that really threatens to take away potentially my future at the same time as taking away past. And so I really refuse to let it interact and take away present moment. So that's a goal of mine, and I think it's a legacy inside of my
I like that, living in the present, right?
Yeah.
Like we can all learn from that, and I've been working on that myself, trying to live in the now, right?
You just feel so much better, too, when you're committing to be present,
Totally.
you know?
Yeah.
And there's something just like so healing about being out in nature as well.
Yes.
Talk to us kind of about how that road trip with you and your mom really strengthened your bond and helped you kind of, heal as she was battling Alzheimer's.
Yeah. I think, looking back, I was looking for an expanse that was large enough to kind of hold both of us through an experience like this. And there's really no other mother bigger than my own outside of Mother Nature. So that seemed like an obvious place to go. I think of time in nature as restorative for us, on a multitude of different levels, physically, mentally, emotionally. And that seemed like the obvious pick to have an experience like this with her.
For you, who is this story in this book for? Like, if you were to pick your audience here with this, who is it for?
I mean, to be quite frank, like first and foremost, it was for me. Yeah. Like I needed to have a cathartic way of expressing, what happened on the journey with us. I think once I discovered it might be, a book, I really honestly think it's anyone who has a mother or maybe has a complex relationship with their mother. And I think it's, speaking of what you asked earlier in regards to legacy, I really do think that my mom's mothering gets a way to carry forward as people interact with her in the book.
Yeah, definitely. And you're also a life coach, right? Tell us about some of the, workshops and retreats and things that you do with that.
Yeah, so of no surprise, all of the workshops and retreats that I do, I mean, I have a one-on-one practice as well, but outside of that, when I'm doing retreats, those are all held in the Pacific Northwest in beautiful kind of retreat centers that are surrounded by nature. That's a critical component for people to kind of let go of their everyday lives and be surrounded by what I would call big nature.
You talked about Yellowstone. During the break, you talked about another one of your favorite spots around here, which is what?
Olympic National Park. Like I said, it's like SNL Stefan. It's got everything, that park.
Best description ever.
Good. What do you like about it? What do you like about Olympic National Park?
Olympic National Park, it really does have everything. It's got proximity for us. It has, colossal mountains. It has all of that stretch of ocean along the coast. It has huge forests, amazing wildlife. If anybody, it's also got a place called the 1 square inch of silence. It's supposed to be ecologically the quietest place in the United States.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that.
So it's a really, really unique park, and it's right here.
What about like the most underrated national park? Because I remember when I went to Moab, I went for Arches, and then Canyonlands was there, and I was like, Canyonlands never gets the hype. It's not on the license plate the way like Arches is. Everyone goes to Arches, but Canyonlands was so cool. Are there anywhere you feel like this is underrated?
I mean, I feel like Olympic National Park is underrated in many ways.
Yeah.
I think it's most people stay on the mainland and go into the Cascades, and I think the Olympic Peninsula has a lot to offer.
That's awesome. Steph, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story and your book with us too.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
This was awesome. We'll put some more info on her book, Everything Left to Remember, up on our website, fox13seattle.com/studio13live.